Hello everyone, welcome back to a YouTube class. So in the previous sessions we started to study relating to your memory devices where we had seen the primary memory in detail, and after completion of your primary memory we had seen the classification of primary memory, that is the two types of the primary memory we have. One is RAM and another one is ROM, where RAM stands for random access memory and ROM stands for read only memory. We had seen the features of RAM and ROM. We had also seen the different types of RAM and ROM, and we had also seen the difference between RAM and ROM. After completion of these, all the contents relating to your primary memory, now we have to move to your secondary memory. So what I do is, I'll not take in detail for the revision, I just give you the difference between RAM and ROM so that you will get all the points relating to your RAM and ROM also, and in that difference we'll see the types of the RAM and ROM also. Then so these are the differences we have. The very first is you have to write the expansion of RAM and ROM. So the first expansion of RAM is random access memory, then the expansion of your ROM is read only memory. As you can see the names, random access memory, where RAM will allow you to perform both reading and writing operation, where your ROM will allow you only for reading the content. In your RAM, the data, instruction or the program is entered by the user when all is needed, and in your ROM, the data is entered by the manufacturer at the time of manufacturing or designing your ROM. For that reason, ROM will not allow you to do any editing, deleting and all the processing. It will only allow you to read the content which is there in your ROM. Then, so in RAM, anyone can enter the data. In ROM, no one can enter the data. Only once entered means over. Then, next one more point you have to remember is, the RAM is volatile memory where ROM is non-volatile memory. Now you have to know what is volatile memory and what is non-volatile memory. You may get it for 1 mark separately or 2 marks altogether. The volatile memory is one. When you switch off your computer system, the data stored in the memory device, if it lost, if it is erases or if it is deleted, then such memory is called as volatile memory. And even though you shut down your computer system, the data will be there for a longer period of time in that memory storage, then that memory is called as non-volatile memory. So the example we have is, for volatile is RAM and for non-volatile is your ROM. Then these are all the points you have to remember. After that, we can also see the different types of RAM and ROM. We mainly say RAM types are static RAM and dynamic RAM. You can write that EDO RAM and all. Then next, in ROM we have PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. So you may get the expansion of the types of RAM and ROM, or you may get a question to explain only the different types of RAM or different types of ROM also. So the question can be asked in anyhow, so you have to study this primary memory in detail, because the teacher, the paper set who will do those will concentrate more on primary memory rather than your secondary memory. Most of the question paper, if you concentrate on that, you will get questions on mostly on your primary memory separately or on your RAM and ROM. There are not much questions on your secondary memory. Then the concepts and the examples are clear relating to a second memory, it's more than enough, but in detail, like the bigger questions of 5 marks, 3 marks or 2 marks, those questions will be asked on your primary memory only. Then so this is all about your primary memory. Next we'll move to see about your secondary memory. So first we'll see the general features of your secondary memory, then we'll study the classification of your secondary memory in detail. Since the storage capacity of the primary memory is not very large, as we had seen, the storage capacity of your primary memory is very less. In your primary memory, the data is stored only in a less amount because the cost of the primary memory devices is very high. Okay, as you increase the capacity, the price increases. For that reason, according to the price, we have only the less amount of the primary storage capacity. So it is not enough to store your content into your computer. So what we do is, to increase the capacity, to increase your capacity, we use the secondary memory. Primary memory is mainly concentrated to increase the accessing speed or to increase the processing speed of your computer. How much is necessary? Based on that we use that RAM capacity and all. And for the storage of the contents like data, programs and other contents, we use the secondary memory. Right? So the first point says that since the storage capacity of your primary memory is not large, it cannot hold a large amount of the data including the program, which may be indeed for processing. Means the content which is there in a high capacity or the huge amount of the data if you want to store, that is not possible to store in your primary memory. And we know that the feature of primary memory is when the system offs, means when you shut down your system, later the data which is stored in your RAM will be deleted. That we don't want. We want to store the content for a longer period of time, and that is not possible through your using RAM. So what we do is we use secondary storage devices when all it is necessary. Then as your primary devices are or your primary memory is also called as main memory, because the content which all we store in your primary memory, the content which all we store in the primary memory is used by the processor at the time of processing. I mean, it is used by the CPU at the time of processing. For that reason it is called as main memory. Similarly, your secondary memory is also called as auxiliary memory. The secondary memory is also called as auxiliary memory. Remember the different names of the memories. Fine. Your primary memory is also called as main memory, where your secondary memory is also called as auxiliary memory. Fine. The secondary memory is used for bulk storage or a mass storage of the program, data and the other information. So when all you want to store the content in a huge amount, in a bulk storage, that may be the programs, that may be the data, or that may be any other information, then we use a secondary memory, that is your auxiliary memory, rather than your primary memory or the main memory. Then it has much larger capacity than your main memory. In your main memory few GBs data will come, where in your secondary memory you can increase the capacity up till terabyte and petabyte. Okay, based on the input, how much the data capacity is needed by the user, that like that the capacity of the storage, that is secondary memory capacity, will be increased. Few more points we have relating to a secondary storage. The secondary storage retains the information once stored on it. As we had seen that in your main memory, that is in your RAM, the content will be stored only till the processing occurs. Once you shut down your computer system, the data which is there in that will be deleted. The data which we store in your RAM will be deleted. The data stored in your primary memory can be deleted once you shut down your system. But here in your secondary memory, when all you store the data, that will be there permanently for a longer period of time, unless you delete the content from it, right? Or else if any damages happens to your secondary devices, then till there the data will be there for a longer period of time. Even though you shut down your system, nothing will be affected on that data. Later when you on your system, the content what all you stored, everything will be there in that. Then so some of your examples of your secondary memory devices, those are called as magnetic memory. Those are hard disk drive, what we call it as HDD, hard disk, compact disk, your CDs, next the pen drive and the memory card. These all are the most commonly used secondary memory in your computer system. So these secondary memory are made up of usually the magnetic material. So sometimes these are also called as magnetic memory. So mostly used your secondary storage devices are hard disk, HDD, what we call it as, next compact disk, pen drive, memory card. So when all you need the data, how you need the data, like that we use the different devices in your secondary storage. The average time required to reach a storage location and obtain its contents is called as its accessing time. So how to find the speed of your secondary storage is the average time required to reach that storage location where that content is stored exactly in your storage, and obtaining that content. So to reach that location and to read that content, how much the time is needed, that will be its accessing time, means that will be its processing speed, what we call it as for your secondary memory. Done. So the first secondary memory we have is magnetic disk. In magnetic disk, again we divide into hard disk, floppy disk. Okay, different are there for your syllabus. We have hard disk and floppy disk. So before studying these hard disk and floppy disk, first we'll study general features of your magnetic disk. Fine. First we'll study the general features of your magnetic disk. So now we'll study the features of magnetic disk first, then we'll study the other different types of the magnetic disk. So magnetic disks are thin circular plastic plates on which some magnetic material is coated. So these are mainly made up of the thin plastic like plates and on which the magnetic material is coated. So for that reason it is called as magnetic disk. It is called as disk because these are in all circles, in a circular fashions they are made internally, the things. So for that reason these are called as disk. So the magnetic disk come with the various sizes and the materials. So based on the capacity how you need, what is the size and which technology you are using, based on that we'll get the different size and the different materials magnetic disk. They use the properties of magnetism to store the data on a magnetic surface. So there is a technique, we call it as magnetism, to store the content on your magnetic surface. So how we do this storing, that is storing the content, we call it as write operation, and reading the content or accessing the content of your disk is called as read operation. So how to do this read and write operation, I'll tell you when we deal with your hard disk. That time I'll tell you. Then just remember, they use the properties of magnetism to store the data on your magnetic surface. So a disk pack normally consists of such disk mounted on a central shaft. So what happens here is, here we are not using a single one disk. So when all we are using the different magnetic disk, there is a package of disk will be there. And such disks are mounted on a central shaft and controlled by devices which will help you to rotate the device at the time of read and write operation. So here the central shaft rotates at a speed of about 7,200 revolution per minute. Here this revolution per minute is also called as RPM, where RPM stands for revolution per minute. So that is the speed of the disk we calculate. In per minute, how many times it can revolve, that will be the speed is called as. That is RPM will be used to measure the speed of your magnetic disk. So usually they had given as 7,200. Based on the different type of the magnetic disk we are using, like that the speed varies. The next features we have is, in disk plate information is stored on the both surface. So if you remember CDs you had seen, so CDs has two sides, upper layer and the downer layer. So what we do is, in both the face, upper face and the downer face, at both the faces we store the device, we store the data. Those faces are called as surface. Those faces are called as surfaces. So the surface is further divided into the number of invisible concentric circles. Those are called as tracks. Those are called as tracks. So let me tell you. So like this, your circular way will be there. Your circular disc will be there. So here one center is there. One center will be there. And using that center, the different circles will be there. Okay, we can see these different circles. So when these many circles have the same center, the same radius point, those are called as concentric circles. For that called as concentric circles. So I had drawn here three circles, 1, 2 and 3. These are called as tracks. These are called as tracks. Done. So this surface, this layer, what we can see, this is your disk, and here a same one single center is used, and using that these different circles has been created. These are called as tracks. These are called as tracks. Then next, these tracks are further divided into various sections. Those are called as sectors. Those are called as sectors. So how these sectors are created is, see, these are the tracks. So I divide into different sections again. Now I am dividing these section wise. So these are called as, what these are called as? These are called as sectors. Fine. These are called as sectors. I'll draw here one more time. You can just concentrate. This is one circle. This is another circle. This is small. I cannot able to draw. So these are the two tracks. So I divide these again here. So these are called as sectors. These are called as sectors. Fine. So here the concentric, one single radius or the center we are having, and we are having the different radius circles. Those are called as tracks, and those tracks are further divided here. These are called as sectors. Fine. Now, to store the information, it is necessary for us to identify the track and the sector, the number of the track and the sector where the data is stored. So when all you want to store the data in this disk, now it is very necessary to know in which track and in which sector the data is stored. In which track and which sector the data is stored. So based on that, we can identify where the data is stored. That is where the information is stored. Then the stored information can be read any number of the times without affecting the stored data. But when new data is written, it erases the previously written data. So what happens here is, sometimes reading operation means the data which is stored in your devices or in disk, that is possible. Many times you can do read operation. But sometimes what happens is, when you are entering new data, then the older data can be removed. If the storage capacity is more and all, that time it can happen. It happens in your floppy disk and zip disk. It won't happen in your hard disk usually. Fine. So this is how your magnetic disk works. So there are mainly two types of the magnetic disk are there, like your hard disk and the floppy disk. One more is there, zip disk, that has been not added into your syllabus. That is the same as your floppy disk, but the capacity of zip disk is more than your floppy disk. Only that much the difference is there. But everything is relating to floppy disk only. Features and all is same as your floppy disk. Then so there are totally two different types of the magnetic disk we have. The one is hard disk and the second one we have is floppy disk. So first we'll study the hard disk in detail, then we'll see the floppy disk. So the most common physical device for storing the files in the hard disk means, when we feel that the main memory capacity is not necessary, not sufficient to store the data, then we need some more memory to store your data or the program or the instruction. That time we use secondary memory, and most commonly used secondary memory device is your hard disk. In all your computer system, there will be hard disk of 500 GB, of your 720 GB or your 1 TB. How much the capacity you need, ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅದ್ರ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ನಾವು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ದೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ದೆನ್ ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್, ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ಡ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಹೋಮ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಜನರಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್, then it will be off up till 500 GB and all. And if you are using for the further more capacities, like in shops or in shopping mall and all, if the data is needed to be more stored, then we increase the capacity up till 1 terabyte and all. Like that you can increase the capacity of your hard disk, right? So the hard disk typically contains several rotating disk plates which are permanently encased in your hard disk. Means we know that the disk will be of a circular manner, so there are different layers of the disk. Okay, those all the layers of the disk are permanently encased into your hard disk, and those are made up of with the different rotating plates. So this disk has to be rotating inside, because when all you want to perform the read and write operation, no, that all will be done based on the rotating operation. Then the surface of the plates are covered by the metal oxide, that is the electromagnetic recording heads will be there. Here in your hard disk, we can perform both read and write operation. So that is read and write operation means we know we can add the data into your disk also, and we can display the content of your disk also. That is the read and write operation. So how your disk is made? Your surface, the outer layer of your disk is made up of metal oxide for the security purpose. Because if it will come in contact with the dust or the oily materials, then the data which we store in that disk will be deleted. For that reason, what we do is we cover it with the metal oxide plates. The next is there are one head for each surface and all the heads move together. I'll show how the structure is there. There will be one head which will control the rotating of your disk. The speed of disk is around 7200 RPM. RPM stands for revolution per minute. In 1 minute, it can rotate up till 7200 times. Done? So the modern disk typically hold up till 260 GB to till 1000 GB, or it can be of 1 terabyte also. Usually it is more than 500 GB only. Nowadays we are not using up of 260 GB and all. It is more than 500 GB only. Done? So the surface of the plate is organized, has a number of concentric tracks that we had seen in a general structure. Each track is again divided into different sectors, and a set of matched tracks are called as cylinders. That all we'll see in the diagram. See, can you see here? So just concentrate on this area. So here the layers of the circles are there. To give the protection to this hard disk, we had fixed with the metal oxide. So that it should not come in contact with the dust or the oily particle. If on this surface the dust occurs or the oily particles will come in contact, then the data which we store in this disk will be vanished. Done? So this is the head what we use. Using this head we can perform the read and write operation, and it starts rotating also. Then so these are the two examples of the pictures I had shown you how the hard disk looks. Done? So can you see this hard disk? So here these are the different layers I had taken. So these all are combined like this. It will look after combination, and this what we use like a arm assembly which will help you to hold these rack of the magnetic disk, that is the hard disk. Done? So this is called as arm, and this is called as read write head. When you perform the read or write operation, this disk starts rotating. Disk start rotating. When you perform write operation, this read write head will come in contact with this surface. Okay, when it will come in contact with this surface, then the electricity starts flowing through this surface. ನೀವು ಯಾವಾಗ ರೈಟ್ ಆಪ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅವಾಗ ಈ ರೀಡ್ ರೈಟ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಏನೈತಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ದು ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ರೀಡ್ ರೈಟ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಈ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದ ಅವಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಲಕ್ಚುಯೇಷನ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವ ಏರಿಯಾದೊಳಗೆ ನೀವು ಡೇಟಾ ಎಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಲ್ಲ ಆ ಏರಿಯಾ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಡಾರ್ಕ್ in color, so that we'll get to know that in that area the current fluctuated, and in that area write operation is occurs, means we had store the content in that area. Fine. Like this we do write operation, and when we do read operation it starts rotating, but this read write head will not come in contact, means this will not touches the surface. Normally it rotates and there is no any electricity fluctuation while doing the read operation, and what all the data you want to read, that will be displayed on your monitor screen. Only the electricity flow will be there at the time of only write operation. Then so these are the surfaces, disk what we call it as, and these are in cylinder because the common center we have. Then so these circles what we can see are called as track, and this dark area where these sections, the tracks are again divided into different sections. Can you see this dark area? This is called as your sector. Done? So when you want to know where exactly the data is stored, we have to know in the track number and the sector number. Then I'll draw the diagram one more time. This is one circle, this is another circle. These are the two tracks. Okay. So I'll divide these into different sectors. So now where the data is stored, if you want to know, you must and should know the track number. This is first track, this is second track. This is first sector, second sector, third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. If suppose the data is stored here, then you must and should know it is stored in second track and the first sector. Like this it should be known. Done. So the spindle is used in common to rotate. How it rotate? Like that the read and write operation will be performed. Done. So like this your hard disk work. Fine. So in today's class I had given you the general meaning of your secondary memory, the features of the secondary memory we had seen, and we had seen the general features of your magnetic disk, and the first magnetic disk we had studied, that is your hard disk. Done. So the other things relating to this chapter or the memory devices we'll see in the next class. If you have any doubts, let me clarify your doubts. The other things will continue in the next session. Thank you.